Thanks for joining me today. I'm Spirit Bird, founder of Holton Healing Arts Shaman School, and I want to share with you today what to do when you F up. So oftentimes, the biggest fear that we have is that we would actually succeed or be good at what we most want to do. And over the course of our lives and over the course of history, what's happened is we've learned to attribute winning to rightness. That when we win, we're right. And when we are right, that means we are good. And so what happens is if we can defend and protect with our lives and tell ourselves that we are right and put all the pieces together and make up the stories that convince us we're right, that way we know we're good. And I've been healing that wound. Want to know how? By letting myself be bad, by effing up. Not on purpose, of course, but the thing that's different for me now is before I would either, if I made a mistake or did something that I thought was bad or wrong, I would either beat myself up about it, or I would make up a story to keep myself in the right. I would convince myself or lie or twist the story to make sure that I'm right and convince myself that the other person is bad, right? Surely that way I'll be safe, I'll be good. And this time I am doing neither beating myself up nor making up a story convincing myself that I'm right. I'm slowly learning to admit my mistakes and my blind spots and my failures and taking the teachings. And this is where I'm really finding my sovereignty by learning to see my own mistakes. I'm also learning to see what is mine and what isn't mine. What energies and beliefs actually don't belong to me that I've taken on unnecessarily. If I can see my own mistakes and own it, I will always be, if I can't see my own mistakes and own them, I will always be afraid of making mistakes, right? And this is when we become ghosts in our own machine and disconnected from our words. This is also when we become frozen in doubt, when we're afraid to make mistakes, right? We end up stuck in doubt, and our own hesitation becomes our own worst enemy. When we can just see our mistake, or when we've been wrong, or what we thought was bad, however humbling that might be, it's also at that exact moment that we see that there also is no right and no wrong. And, many people will keep playing out the story that there's right and wrong, but it's actually moving beyond that and moving beyond there where we find our sovereignty, where we find our center and who we are and where we are. And it is not the most comfortable thing. It is downright painful at times. I'm definitely not meeting it with no resistance. And with each teaching that's being given gently by Spirit, I can feel a cinch around my heart being released. Also, as that happens, I find myself able to take bigger risks, to be less scared about what will happen if I'm judged, or if I do make a mistake, or if I am bad. And I'm slowly becoming more free. Our memories of failure is definitely strong. It's where we begin to tell ourselves lies that we are so good or we are so bad, depending on whichever feels safer. And oftentimes we surround ourselves by those who also see us as good or bad, depending on which feels safer. So if I feel like when I make a mistake or fail, I want to lie to myself and tell myself that I'm bad. If that feels safer, then I'm going to be surrounded by people that make me feel bad. And likewise, if I feel like when I make a mistake, I have to be good and lie to myself and say that I'm so good, then it's likely you're going to surround yourself by people who only see you as good. And of course, what we really need is the balance of the two, right? And I personally surrounded myself by those that like affirm my being. And it's been one of my biggest wounds, because also it's not the whole truth. That I'm only good is not the whole truth. And what I'm learning is I don't want cheerleaders. I want truth, right? They say the thing you are most afraid of is also the thing you most want. And I find this over and over again to be true. This is why so many of us avoid naming what we truly want. We even avoid accountability, right? Accountability is one of the best ways to ensure you succeed, by bringing in support and accountability so that you can be externally held to your own goals and coach through it, right? And since that's one of the best ways to succeed, to ensure we don't face failure, we avoid accountability as well. Because if we name what we want and we don't get it, what will happen to us? So we would rather drown ourselves than take the chance of reaching for something and fall. We would rather starve ourselves than admit we have desires. But desires are holy. They're sacred. They're part of us. And we would rather bury our deepest desires into the dark corners of our soul and tuck them away than let them be seen. We would rather cut off our own arm for resembling something that we hate or believe is bad than realizing it also is God. When we spend so much time trying to avoid failure, or so much time trying to avoid being the bad guy or getting it wrong or effing up, we actually create a really big pocket of shadow. Chasing nobility creates darkness. When we do our work and can see our mistakes without embodying the patriarchal belief that we're bad because of them, then we can actually admit our wrongness or missteps without making ourselves an enemy and driving a sword deeper into our own hearts. The benefit of failure, of effing up, is you get to see that you can F up and survive. You get to show yourself that you can make it through that. And that's a special kind of freedom. I'm opening the door for 2 more seats in Shaman School this month. If you're ready to truly name what you desire, get clear for yourself, and take the risk of going for what you want and becoming who you are and sharing that in a bigger way, you're invited to apply. The link for that, of course, is in the bio. Thanks for